This is a shakedown. Order up that beat just like a steak.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Coach Allison G. And I am happy to be back here with you. And I love today's episode because today's episode is something that I'm going to talk about, but you're going to ask, why am I an expert in it? Because it's all about men. So today's episode is called Man Up Your Health. And we're going to talk about what does it actually take for a man to change his habits and his lifestyle to improve his health and his well-being. And why does it matter? Because in the course of my career, I have dealt with countless women and I've dealt with countless men. And the thing that most of the wives always tell me is that their husbands need to make a change, but it doesn't matter what they do, it won't happen. Or why can a man lose weight faster than a woman? It seems unfair. And that's made me kind of challenge those questions through the years. And it's been really interesting working with men. It's a totally different mindset. So today on the show, I'm going to have with us Sanford Modiano, who's going to tell us a little bit about his journey and the things that he has done and the common things that a man may think when he's on this journey. And what are we going to do, ladies, to get our other halves started? So the first thing we're going to talk about is, why is it important for a man to change? And I came across a Time magazine article that was written in 2010. So I want you to imagine now, like 14 years ago, this came out, that was done by the University of Cambridge. And it basically stated that there's a theory that illnesses are worse for men because they have evolved to a weaker immune system and lower immunity because of their tendency for risk-taking behaviors. And I don't mean that your man's the guy who's jumping out of an airplane, right? And I don't say that your guy is the guy who's base jumping or, catching the 20-foot wave. What we're talking about is that most men are so career-driven or work-oriented that they tend to, you've heard this all say, burn the candle at both ends. And that causes a rise and a spike in our adrenaline. And it will also, as that happens and we rev that engine really strongly, it is going to over time decrease the immune system. So there are certain things that men are more prone to than women. And I think if we can acknowledge those and figure out what our why is, it's easier to address what do we have to do to change that. So I know through the years, when I've asked men, what is it that's made you change? I can tell you with all clarity, it has never been their wife. So wives, do not try to change man. It's not going to happen. The times that I've seen man make a change, honestly, number one, their doctor told them to do it. So it's normally been that they've gotten some kind of a diagnosis, lab work's come back, something that scared them just a little bit, or it's been a threat to their job or career that because of the change in their health, they can no longer perform at the standard that they wanted to. It has never yet been, at least in my career, it has never yet been because my girlfriend, my wife, my partner asked me to, because they just don't see that correlation. Maybe they feel like it's a feminine thing. Maybe they feel like being on a diet is not masculine enough. Maybe they feel like, and we're going to get to you. Don't worry. I see you over here smiling. They don't want a salad because getting healthy means I only have to eat salad and vegetables, and I don't like that. So I think there is a man versus health kind of mentality that's out there that they don't need to, or that they've got it under control. And when I choose to control it, I will. And what we don't want is for that to be too late. Why should we care about it? Well, I'm going to tell you again, I looked for some statistics and these scare me, they alarm me. 24.3% of men suffer from coronary heart disease. That makes it the number one killer among men. Ironically, it's on the top for women, but more men suffer heart disease, heart attack, stroke than anything else. 21.6% have an elevated risk for cancer. Among those, prostate and lung. So I know a lot of times the focus is really on women's health and breast cancer and estrogen cancers. But I gotta be honest with you, if I put those two percentages together, 24 and 21, we are almost close to a 50% chance of your man's health that he holds a lot of that in the palm of his hand. So if we don't make these changes, there is an even higher risk. I think injury was like 5%. I mean, and these other random things were such a low percentage that it doesn't even matter, right? You'd be like that 1 in a million that it happened to. This is a lot more. This is 2 in every 10. So it's really something to talk about. So I want to start today as we go into this episode talking to my good friend Sanford Modiano. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself, his journey in his career, because I think that matters. And the most important part is the why. So I'm going to turn it over now. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
This is my first podcast, so it's kind of exciting.
Yay.
We've talked about this for a while, and here we are. And we'll give it our shot. And we've been on a journey. And you know that my journey is, if I am a typical yo-yo, I know better, my way is better, I'm smarter, I have it, I've tried every diet possible, every way possible. And, when you look at what happened to me, or why did I change, and it first started about 8 years ago, and it ended up being something that other people said to me, not even from myself noticing, because I always could justify and have limitations of, I'll just buy bigger clothes instead of an XL. I can go to a 2XL. But when other people are telling me, they say, you look bad, I'm really concerned about you. You're like, wait, what's going on? I think I look all right, I'm good. Until you kind of get forced into a situation, and I won't go on my own because I don't want to know the results. I'm all right. But I went to the doctor, and the actual numbers that came back from a full blood work, where not only does the doctor say it, but when friends say it, you're one breath away from maybe a stroke or a heart attack. That was enough to scare me, because I thought I was doing fine. I don't know what it looks like inside. I'm kind of okay, getting by my day. I went and saw Allison after so many times, being recommended, and so many different things on my own, and trying and lose 10, gain 15, lose 20, gain 5. I'm the person that sits here probably in a 10-year span, and I could be the same weight over that 10-year span from beginning to end, but it wasn't a flat line. It was a woo, all up and down, all over the place. And when you do that, you realize as you get older and more knowledge with the internet and social media is that there's so much information out there that sometimes it's overload, that you keep trying all these different things. Cardio, don't do cardio. Muscle, don't eat fat. Eat carbs, don't eat carbs. It's just, there's too much information out there. And it really comes to be overwhelming. But what ended up happening was I got scared enough, not because a doctor, it's like me going to the dentist, brush your teeth, floss, yeah, you get by. But when someone tells you that you're at the risk, 10 years ago, and I just turned 50, and that you're at the risk of a stroke or heart attack, that's enough to scare. And, you go and you try, what you've tried, it doesn't work. Don't like the word diet.
Yeah.
Somebody says, I got a diet. I read somewhere, and you hear.
Tell me about that. Why? Because I know for a woman,
Right.
Just to interject, a woman will try every diet in the world. Like, we'll literally look for the next best thing out there.
Yeah.
What is it about that you don't like?
Sustainability. For me, and I read it or I heard it somewhere, the first 3 letters of diet is diet. So when I look at it, diets, they're extremes. They're not sustainable. There's a start and end to it. It's not something that you can maintain over a lifetime, and that is what has happened to me. I'll pick up the most recent fad diet. At the time it was Weight Watchers, or now there's keto and paleo, and don't eat carbs and no sugar. And, they're extremes. You do it for a month. I lost 12 pounds a month ago. But the minute that I started to feel comfortable, now I start giving myself some leeway. Oh, I'll have a cheat day. I'll have this little bit. I think I can manage this. I am not. I am the extremist. That's why it's really hard for me that I struggle with all these, because don't give me something that's a handful. A handful of Skittles is not just, okay, I'm good. It's the whole bag. It's the whole bag of everything. It's always the extreme. So to me, diets are an extreme temporary situation to a permanent problem.
Okay, so let's take a step backwards for a moment. Everybody has their aha moment.
Right.
So you're sitting here as a friend, we call you the regular guy, the guy who's going to relate to the audience.
Right.
But career-wise, that's not who you were.
Right.
Right? You actually held a very important role.
Right.
Tell me about what led to, what your lifestyle was like. Because I think sometimes knowing where the beginning is a good place to start.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So my whole career up to about 10 years ago, and we'll get to that, and it was a major change, was I was in in executive management, in finance and accounting, in a high-level hospitality company, hotel and casino company. I had been doing this since 1986, probably for going on almost 25, 30 years, 6 days a week. I would say 10 hours a day, but it's not 10 hours a day. It ends up becoming 12 hours a day. And even back then, when there's pagers, now there's cell phones, which horrible, email. You're always expected to be available at the pace of what you're working, high pressure, and people use that word, but you feel like you're constantly in crisis mode. You're not taking time to eat. You're not taking time for yourself. All you are is dedicated to your work. And I gave up all what I lost from it, where I thought that was the most important value to me at the time to provide for my family, is you realize that you didn't spend any time with your family. You gave everything to work, to the detriment of not only the time, but the health. And you didn't even realize you were doing it. In the morning, I'd get up. I wouldn't even go have breakfast. I'd stop at Dunkin' Donuts, sausage, egg, and cheese croissant sandwich.
Again, Dunkin'. If you want to sponsor us, because I know Leah's not here with her crown today, her crown hat, but we do have Dunkin'. Just, sorry.
Yeah, but I tell you, I was living up in Boca Raton, and, I get in the car, and I'm always panicking because, oh my God, I didn't get enough time to get ready, and I'm not going to get there on time. And I got all these things already that they want me to do. I stop and get the sausage, egg, and cheese croissant. That's no problem. That's my partner in my car to drive to get me to work, my comfort food, to hit a couple cups of coffee. And now they have the cafeteria. And, you're working, you're running, and you're one thing after another. You really have no sense of organization, control, because it's all reactionary. And I did this for over 30 years. Lunch would be, you grab something in the cafeteria, which company cafeterias, it's great, we have them. How they become 2,000 calorie eggs, I'll never know. Or, I say, I just had 2 eggs. And so hash browns and bacon. Somehow they turn that into 1,000 calories that if I make it at home, I can do it for 400 calories, right? Whatever. You start eating in cafeterias every day, and I'm eating bagels. Oh man, everything, they gave me such a good spread. I was not going towards the fruit or the salad. It's over here. But here's everything else. Good. Let me go back to work. 3 o'clock. Oh, there's the espresso, the cappuccino place. Oh, the Cuban coffee. And then we fire up with that. And then on the way home, just to keep me company on the way home, I'd stop at Burger King to get a Junior Whopper. And then we're like, my wife and the kids are like, what are we going for dinner? I'm like, okay, well, when nobody cooks, let's go get pizza. So, the whole lifestyle, there's no exercise, there's no planning, there's no shopping, there's no cooking. But when you're in the high pressure, you think that this is what's normal because that's all you know, and everybody's doing it around you. You're not the only one. You're like, all right, we're all in this crazy thing together, but we kind of joke about it, but it's not funny, but this is what we do. And somebody, my boss, many years ago told me, he goes, this is what you signed up for. This is what you chose. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, you're right. This is what I chose. Oh, okay. But finally to get to this point, and I was probably 16 years into this, the last 16 years of my last phase of job here at where I'm currently working, where, yeah, when people started telling me that, no, you're gonna die, you're gonna stroke out, and then I'm like, I went and I
But did you feel it? Was there a point, I know other people are saying it, but did you ever feel like, wow, I need to make a change because I'm not feeling good?
No, I still had a level of acceptance of what was okay to me. Yes, no, could I bend down and tie my shoes? No. Getting dressed in the morning was a pain. Do I have to buy bigger clothes? But I still was okay with it. I still was okay because I could still do the things that I wanted to. I had stopped, like, one of the things that I started to impact me, but also probably for the wrong reasons. I used to play golf. I was guys with every week. And I was like, okay, but when I started to not be able to, hold on, that's getting in the way, you know, and you're walking and you're hot and then you see it and big and just how hard, that's when it started. But I didn't know, and it didn't scare me enough because I was still caught up. My priority was work, and then make it home for my family, and then me try to fix everybody and do everything. I never really stopped to think, oh, I'm not bad. I was getting big, and then I never would get on the scale, so I wouldn't watch a number. And then when I finally went to the doctor and he's telling me you're 248 pounds, I'm thinking, whoa, wait, what happened to 185 pounds? I know I went up to maybe some weight here and some sizes. He's like, dude, you're 50 pounds heavier than where you were 2 years ago because you wouldn't come in last year. Yeah. And he goes, it wasn't even like the recommendation that they tell you, here's a packet and go home. They're like, no, you need to get your shit together. Like, we got to fix this. You're really at high risk. I mean, besides blood pressure, and I think it was like 160 over 90 or something, and 48% body fat. And my stomach was like there was no good signs of any of it. So through some recommendations and, like I said, trying everything else, I went and saw my good friend here. We started this journey together, and even along the ways, you just think that you can do it. You can do it. You can do it on your own. I can control it. I can go have a donut. I got this. No matter how much information at the time provided to you, that you're asking help from someone who knows better, knows more, to share. And you say, I got it. Now, when you leave, you go, yeah, I got it. My way. My way's good. And we tried, I quite the challenge, up and down. Again, in the yo-yo, until you realize you're not smarter than Allison in this matter.
You're not smarter than me in this area.
This was like one of the things. So we had to come to really about the reality checks of life. After the doctor tried to scare the shit out of me, I went, oh, I'll go see Allison. But that was like, it's still not really bad. But she told me two things. Good one. You are not smarter than me in this matter. And if you want to go pick out a coffin, we'll go together. I'm not trying to be an asshole and trying to, your friend, hey. But I got to give it real. This is what they're telling you. This is bad. If you don't start turning this around, and immediately we're going to be in a really bad situation, and we don't want this bad situation. That scared me. That was my
Okay.
That was.
And when you finally started making change, one thing that I've recognized through my years has been men follow a plan, women follow emotion.
Yeah.
Okay, again, wives, girlfriends, partners, spouses, whatever you want to say, understand this. Men follow a plan, women follow emotion. women will make a change to their health and well-being because it's something they've seen on TikTok. It's something they watched on The View or Good Morning America, or they've heard someone talk about it or seen it on Facebook. They're quickest to click. With a man, he needs to understand that there's a plan. Try sending your guy to the grocery store and tell him to get ketchup for you. Okay? And they walk down that aisle and there's about 5 brands of ketchup. Do they ever really pay attention to the one you use at home? Probably not. But now they're going to call you on the cell phone and, babe, what ketchup you need? Right?
What size?
What size do you need? They need to have structure. It's why, it's unfortunate to say, but most men are the architects in the field. They're mostly the mathematicians. They're mostly the engineers because they follow a plan. A to Z. It needs to be laid out in front of them. Women, we deal on the emotional. If it hurts me too much, how much effort do I have to put in? What are going to be my immediate results? And I don't think, again, only in my experience, and we're going on over 10 years of doing this, right. I don't know there are men who'll think emotionally. Like, don't get me wrong, and there are women who will follow the plan to the T. But for you, when you decided, all right, enough people are telling me these things, I need to make a change. And you know what? If I look inward, I probably am not feeling really great, right? I've kind of glossed over it.
Right.
What made the process easier or doable for you? What was it that, because you did achieve a significant loss.
Right.
Correct. How much?
When the significant loss, it was 60 pounds.
Okay, so let's take that moment.
Right.
What was it that helped you get to there? Because that didn't happen in 1 week. It didn't happen in 2 weeks. It didn't even happen in a month.
No, it was a little over a year. And what helped with it is, and this is for me, is in certain matters, I need somebody to tell me what to do. So you had touched on it about a plan. I need to take my own crazy thinking, my own way, and say, take me out of the equation. So you talk about emotion, take me and my thoughts out. I don't want to think about it. I need it very laid out. This is what you do. Tell me here, follow this plan, and it will work. You follow this plan, it'll work. Okay. The other part that was good for me was being in that situation and saying, oh shit, this is so overwhelming. How am I gonna lose 1 pound, 5 pounds, 10 pounds? I'm not even thinking. I'm already thinking, how did I get 60 pounds? I'm not even 60 pounds. I might as well I don't care. How do I get past that part of it was by breaking things down into smaller steps. And one of the successes of it was we knew, and we went into this together saying this is not a sprint, this is a marathon, it's a lifestyle where we're going to attack behavior. And kind of in my current job, we'll call it root causes. What is really happening that is causing you to behave in ways that this and food and everything else I'm doing or wasn't doing is a byproduct of a reaction to a root problem. And what is that behavioral issue? And you went into it and you said, we're going to attack to the why, which, when we were talking over the years, the name of your business, Why Weight Wellness, and why you came up with the name. But what resonated with me was the why. Because I can follow the programs, so I did. I need to be told what to do. I've done it. Follow the program. Great. What about the sustainability of the program? Because at some point I'll get to a point going, I got this. And I don't have accountability. To myself, I might, but nobody is there holding me accountable that I know we can continue to develop, because what my problem is today was not going to be the same problem 3 months from it later, or 6 months, or 9 months. So it really became a mixture of, here's what we need to do to just restart, get going, and let's attack the overall goal to get all of your health under control. But really, here's how we'll start. You follow this, and you're like, God, oh boy, here we go. This food, this food, this food. This is boring. 3 ounces of chicken, broccoli, but you follow it because you know you're scared enough. You got to follow it. Okay, I can do it a week, or 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But at some point after that, we're going to have more of a discussion of why am I doing this? What's it benefiting me? And how's it getting me to my goals? And it's funny, we were talking earlier about core values and everything. And it was an eye-opener of things that you have to do in a day, choices you make. Do they align up with your goals, right? And my goal was not to die. Okay.
It's a pretty big goal.
It was a pretty big goal, not to die. And how do we do this? So the part was you had a nice plan. It was very easy to follow. It wasn't restrictive. And you realize it's just, instead of this, have that. Instead of this little thing, don't have that. Not good things. So there was a lot of good information, but it was very realistic. It was manageable. It was a plan. But we only took one step of it. And when you hear that you're going to say, well, we're going to try to do 1 pound a week or 2 pounds a week, and you're like, shit, that's 30 weeks. That's a long time. That's going to be a year. I'm going to eat like this, and I got to do all this for a year. No, you got to do most of this, not 100%, most of this for your lifetime. So whatever we're developing for a lifetime and a behavioral. So we got to get to the root causes. And that was what I think helped me get started and continued along with it for a good 8 to 10 years, where I did over gradually. It was nothing. It kind of just, you forget about it, that's what you're doing, because you're attacking and addressing things in your life that you're trying to say, this is what's priority now. Yeah, not dying, but then if I'm not going to die, then look at what I'm leaving behind: friends, family, relationships, work, a whole life of travel. So those become reasons now, motivation to keep going. But also, you have to be able to, all right, well, we got the plan in place. All right, but what's really bothering you? Work. Let's talk about work. We talked about work for years and years and years. How do you get the control of work? I have no control. Then you move on to, hey, there's some family things going on, or what about, me? You start to grow and develop as a person through it, but you got to put the work into it. But it really starts to focus on not the food and not the diet part of it, but more the life's issues, dealing with everyday issues. And we all have it running around. And I know you're in it now. As you were in it, you're in it now still, where you have we had 2 kids. They got to be at soccer fields, 2 different fields, 2 different times. I'm down here in Hollywood. She's up there in Boca. Who's meeting who and who's getting what? And I'm running late. Well, I'm not going. The kids don't want to go. You're like, oh, what the hell? That's a time period.
Yeah.
Do your homework. Don't do your homework. Why?
Drivers.
I forgot to tell you, I left my book, everything. There's all these things that just come at you. And I just left work where I just get paid to solve problems. I'm not getting paid to solve these problems, but I am, because I signed up for this, right? As a parent.
Yeah, so speaking of that, one thing I always say, I think it's one of the first things that when I'm dealing with professional men, we say, take a lunch. Right?
Yes.
Number one thing, guys, just skip lunch. They don't eat 3/4 way through the day. They're really involved in the projects that they're doing or the problem solving at work, right? We call that active brain.
Yeah.
Your brain already has this idea of what it needs to get accomplished, and generally eating food, well, that's not in it. Give a tip to people out there. When you were at your strongest and you were most motivated,
right?
How did you tackle, because a lot of us spend more time at work than sometimes we do at home. Right. And so a lot of the habits that we're trying to change are built into our workday, unfortunately.
Right.
And we talked about this earlier. There is no more work-life balance. It's work-life integration.
Right.
How do we bring the two together? And like I said to you, it's why companies now have gyms inside of their organizations, or we're offering daycares inside, because we're trying to integrate the two. what were some helpful tools or steps that you took to help overcome that mountain? Because that's a big one for a lot of guys.
No, it's a big one. And what I have learned through the years, and we were talking about it today, was it's more like, and I'll say progress, not perfection, right? Everything doesn't have to be perfect. The reality is, no, I'm not getting up and taking a break, and I'm not going to the cafeteria for an hour because my mind's all over the place. So the reality, the thing of, oh, I'm going to go walk around the building 3 times to get my exercise, doesn't happen. So instead of saying what can't happen, what can I do? So what helped me was, what can I have available to me that if at a reach or a grab it, and it could be a protein bar, it could be the healthy chips or snacks or a drink or something with me that would not require me a lot of effort at the time will solve what my issue is, so that I'm not going 8, 9, 10 hours. And then the next thing you know, I'm grabbing the fastest thing I can get a hand to, because if I am running around and I am working, next thing I know, whatever's in my visual, I'm grabbing it, and that's what I'm eating. And most of the time it was candy, because that's what's available the most to me. But if I can have a snack bar or some kind of crackers or soup or, something easy, because it doesn't require any effort, it's easy, and then it helps me keep going and get me through the next
So
phase.
would you bring that with you and keep it in your drawer?
Yeah.
Or would you, what was the strategy to remember that?
Yeah.
Right? Like it sounds great in theory, and I know that's what you did, but for that, what was that step? What was it that...
So what I found is I struggle that for whatever, if I say today, I wake up today, I'm going to deal with breakfast today, or I'm going to deal with my lunch today and my snack today. So every day I'm doing this 7 times, but I don't know what I'm doing. I have to decide and put it together. What I found to be effective was taking, and I'm keeping it in my drawer, but I had 5, 6. So I didn't just say, oh, I better remember to bring a bar. I better remember to bring a shake. No, we had little mini refrigerators. I had 5 snacks in there. I have my drawer.
So you prepared for the week?
For the week, yes. I prepared for the week. And we'd have a little mixture of things, chips, some bars, and some shakes in the refrigerator. And it's the same way I'm doing kind of now. I was successful when make chicken, but I'm not making a meal for a meal real time. It's like today for today. That was probably one of the biggest struggles. There was no ever planning before, and it doesn't take, well, you realize it takes so much more time to do today for today than just plan a little bit, go and get it, and now you've made meals, or you've made at least some things that can be mixed and matched, and you've got three days covered, and then you get the next 3 days covered. So I think that's helped, because I notice right when I'm not doing well, there's no planning involved. There's no pre-prepping. It's always today for today. I mean, look, I did it this morning. I didn't breakfast I normally have. All right, well, shit, okay, I did. I came and I got the egg omelets. Better choice, but my normal thing was I was off my schedule a little bit, but at least the alternative was I didn't get the sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich. I got the 2 egg bites. So you make better choices under difficult situations, but a lot of times you want to avoid yourself to put yourself in them. And just a simple little snack, they even have the simple snack, whatever works for you. And it doesn't have to be a protein bar or chips. To me, like the little things of pickles now they have in a bag, they're great. I have those pickles, and I'm good. And it's funny, it's like, we joke around a lot about stuff. And she said, well, what kind of snack bars do you have? And I was like, I don't know, I like these Cliff bars. She's like, that's good. She goes, what's on the front on the wrapping of the Cliff bar? I'm like, I don't know, a guy climbing a mountain. Are you climbing any mountains today? Are you doing any extreme sport? I went, no. She goes, okay. Bar, okay. Cliff Bar, maybe not. There's a better choice for your lifestyle, right? So it's all modifications. There's not perfect. It can be individual, whatever works for you, but you learn things that if you're allowing yourself to go a long period of time and you're not eating anything, your body, which I know enough, is going to go into, you're not going to do it? I got it. I'm going to take care of it, which, you learn. Starts to feed. It feeds from something else because who's really running the show? It sure as hell isn't me. I think I am, but I'm not.
No, but we should be, right?
Well,
Like the brain should be telling the body what to do, but it's just amazing what stories you actually remember. Like it's amazing that the things that throughout the course of our time working together and becoming friends, like those little stories that you remember. I forgot about the Cliff Bar story, but that's actually so true. I remember it very vividly now. So when you made these changes, we always talk about, I always hear how hard everything is. Like if I had $1 for every time somebody said, oh, this is so hard, I'd be fully retired by now. My goal is always easy, right? What can I do in my day that makes it easy? And once I start doing these easy things to achieve my goal, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. So what are the things that you noticed once you actually did start moving? Because sometimes those making changes are other people's ideas, not your own.
Right.
But then once you started doing it, what were the good or the positive things that you saw from it?
Yeah, so the positive part about it was it's not hard. That was the first part. That if I have a cheeseburger, French fries, and a Diet Coke, meal, side, drink. Or if I have chicken, broccoli, and water. I'm like, it's really not hard. Number one, it's not hard. It's just, you tell yourself.
And so, time out. You don't just have to eat chicken and broccoli.
No.
When you're trying to get healthy, because I know that some people I don't like broccoli.
Right.
Like that's not.
Right.
I think the basis of that healthy versus.
It's a little plate triangle theory. There's a healthier choices, but it's not hard.
Yeah.
But here's the reality for me. I felt so much better. I had more energy. I wasn't hungry all the time. My emotions, I was still the crazy, like running around and everything, but I felt more alert. I felt not hungry. I wasn't craving candy and food. I noticed that when I start eating all the stuff that I really, really enjoy, because it tastes really good, I'm constantly eating, and I'm feeling hungry, It's like, it's for me. It's like Chinese food. I eat it. It's great. I'm hungry 15 minutes later, or an hour later. I don't even feel like I eat. But when you start eating what your body wants and what you need and what the better choices, the benefits happen naturally, organically on them for themselves.
So was there a positive side, because most men depend very much on their professional side, right? I always try to tell people they connect together. Your personal and your professional are and can be one. So did you find that how was your stress level? How did you manage things at work? What was your productivity like? That as you improved these things in your personal side, did it have an impact for you on your professional side?
Yes, yeah, it did. And the first part of it was I felt more confident, because I felt better. I felt like not just slouching or this, guy walking around. I felt like more stable, more confident. So I went into things with my head up. I wasn't like always put my shoulders back. I was like, no, I naturally felt more confident. And the other part of it is I couldn't slow down at the time, maybe the pace of it all, and the crises were still there, but I definitely felt more clarity and clearer thinking, that I was able to calm myself while I'm in these, not to let my emotions get the best and not get anxious, where I would sit and listen and be able to sit up straight and listen to what the situation was, be in a calmer place, be alert thinking, and then saying, all right, let's figure out how we're going to get there. Now, we have become, whatever they say, match the energy, right? You know, when people are yelling or freaking out, it's easy to come back that way. But what was able to do, I had more tolerance, more patience. My health was still, I had a long journey to go, but I noticed that I wasn't like real shortness of breath. And that I noticed that was happening a lot before. Or when I would have to go walk to a meeting, I would be hot. And like, is that your blood pressure? Or it's just hot outside? Or, you know, so you kind of get high that's behind what you want to believe on. Yeah, oh God, it's hot outside. I can't wear this shirt, you know? No. What the benefits of it were just more of a state of more control. And, you know, now, you know, even one of the things that we didn't touch on, which was huge, is by making changes. I tried all this diets and I came to you and we could do all that. But really the core, and this is what came back to the why, what is causing all this was my work. And this is all I knew, and this is what I thought I was supposed to be doing. But at some point that was not working for me because too many other things were suffering from it. My health, my family, you know, financially wasn't doing me any good either. And there was friends, there was no relationships. All the things that are important to me were going away, and it was one-dimensional, and it was work. And at the time that we started talking and we started getting to the core of really what is bothering you and what is causing all this, it was work. And it forced me, which I am not a risk taker, and takes me a long time to even make decisions. I changed my job. I walked away from an executive position in finance at this premier company after 16 years and took a lesser job that I only had 3 requirements. No employees. No meeting. I don't want to be in meetings. Meetings are for people who don't have, or there's people who have meetings and there's people who do work. I want to be a doer. I want to be a contributor. I want to use my knowledge and my experience to help others. I don't want to make decisions. I don't want to be in charge of employees. I don't want to spend time in meetings. I want to show up to work, give me work to do, and I'll do it, and you give me more work. And they're like, looked at me like, what? No. I'm like, yeah. What does that even look like? Well, they didn't even have a job for me in there. And that's after 16 years of being a day one employee. I'm like, well, we're going to make one. They're like, no, you're not. Okay, well, the first thing you realize off of that is everybody has an expiration date, and you think you're valuable, and you do your job, but only to a point. So when you do things like, for me, work, at the end of the day and sacrifice everything else in your life, just like the way things are temporary, it's a journey. Work sometimes, a lot of times, temporary event that, you know, I changed jobs and I was just like, no, I have to do this. And they put it on me as my responsibility to go and find something that would fit, which I found. And I took I'll tell you, like a 70% pay cut. But it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the job. It was about my life. And I had not done that. And that also was a big thing that scared me the most this time of talking with you and working, and what the medical records said and all this biometrics and all that, was to walk away from something that I've been doing at this company 16 years and something another 15 before that, and scared to death of how am I going to take this pay cut. And you realize it can be done. Choices are hard and you don't know what they look like, but they can be done because we did figure it out. And it was significant, you know, the change in lifestyle. But to this day, it's the best decision I ever made, to say I did it for me. I did it for my family. I did it for my friends. I did it for my relationship. The work is still work. I'm just not getting paid as much. But also my balance and life. I went on more vacations my first 3 years after I changed jobs. I used every vacation time. Every year I would lose vacation time. They would, you know, roll over your work. No, I would lose weeks. The first year that I changed jobs, I went on 4 trips. next year I went on trip. Now I say, my travel agent here also, where are you guys going? Where are you going? Wait, I like that trip. Oh, we did the cruise to Quebec and down to all the way through Maine and then Boston. I've been to Boston. I've been to California.
Amazing.
I've been on cruises.
I was going to say, I don't know if you remember when we talked about one of the things I usually would say to my men, and even to those women who put so much into their professional career. You know, it's great to be great at what you do for someone else.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if something happens to you and you end up in the hospital, they'll send you flowers and they might send you a card, but the job still has to get done and you'll be replaced. And what expense of you is worth that? Right?
Exactly. And you know, I learned this, what hit me in my, what do you call it, nickname, I guess, was the mayor. I knew everybody. You know everybody. Everybody knows you. Everybody likes you. You work well with everybody. Yeah, relationships are real important to me. And working and adapting to people, all part of the job. So the mayor here knows everybody. You know everybody. I had my 50th birthday. And a lot of people knew it's my 50th birthday. And my boss some friends tried to put together a 50th birthday party, surprise party at work or outside of right near it. And it was a surprise, and I walked in and there were 5 people there. And I was like, that's a life-changing event for me. Still is to this day. Besides making the change job-wise, which came about a year after that, that was a big deal. Like, what am I doing this for? You know, I think I'm trying to do it for work, but I'm also like, well, I know everybody, and I'm really popular, and I got it. This is what I'm fueling me, and said, whatever's missing out in my outside of work life, I got it right here. This is giving me everything. And 5 people showed up, and you're like, oh boy.
That goes back to our Finding the Village podcast, right? Finding your tribe and the people that really matter to you, because
it was an eye-opener and a change, which then helped me make the decision to change, because yes, it's important, but work, it was said by a very great man that I respect, that I owe you one thing: you show up to work and I pay you. I'm like, okay, you're right.
Pretty clearly defined.
You show up, do the job, responsibilities that you were hired to do, and at the end of the week, if you satisfactorily do them, I pay you.
There's so much love in that.
You're like, wait, but it's okay. Then that's really what I should be getting from this. If I can get a little bit more, I have coworkers, I have acquaintances. But when you start going friends up the chain, the tribe, it becomes this and this. Then it becomes very small.
Yep.
Who's your tribe?
Who's your tribe?
And you know what? They're not people who work.
No, they usually aren't.
And it's more just talking about your priorities. So I made the change. It's been the best thing. And to this day, you know, and it happened, I think I told you, it happened maybe about a month ago. Somebody I had not seen for a while, and I didn't even know the impact. That's the other thing. You don't even know the impact you have on others by some of the things that you do for yourself, because we're all like each other. There's so many people like us that look and going, well, he's doing it, because yeah, that's who I'm surrounding myself with. Everybody like me, so we're all normal. But when you change, you get people to go, I wish I had the courage to do that. I wish I could have changed jobs. I want to do that. I want to have a balance. But you did it. Yeah, I did it because here's why I did it. And then they would see the results and see more color in your skin, and you look healthier. It wasn't about losing weight. It was, you look good, you look healthy. The numbers could be the same, but you know, the way your shirts fit, 2 sizes down, they tell you, you'll know. And you look and sounded better. I couldn't even get a sentence going most of the time beforehand. I would always be stuttering or stop and talk like this, you know, and you're like, now you can actually have a conversation. But people, so what did you do? Okay, well, yeah, there was some magic. Let me tell you the secret. Meet me after work. I'll tell you the code. You know, no, there's no secret.
Well, that brings me to my last question.
Yeah.
since you had talked about having the impact on others.
Yes.
For all the ladies out there, for all the men, what is, and I guess the biggest question is, I think it's for all of us as being someone that exists in the world of the person making the change, what is the kind of help you need? So if you're going on your journey, let's just say it's at home or it's a friend, what is it that you need? Because most people don't ask, what can I do for you? Or how can I help you?
Right.
So what is it that someone can do to help you make that change? If you had to ask someone to do something, what would it be?
Accountability is the official word, is to check in, to be supportive. So they say about your support network, and if my wife watching, I'm sorry, but this is the reality. I'm not going to tell her about this one. No. So I'm a victim of my environment, right? So that's not taking responsibility for myself. But here's the thing. Now that the kids moved out, they're on our... So now, when she gets in those modes of, well, what are we doing for dinner? I didn't make anything. Oh, do we have any popcorn? Is there any candy in the house? It's the after 8 o'clock snacking and all the things I'm trying to not do. To have not the best support network immediately around you makes challenges. Because then you end up going, come on, join me, please join me, help me. And then they're not. And you go, well, I have to do my own thing. But what you got over there looks pretty cool, but it's very hard. So if you got to try to manage your support network in your immediate life. But what I found helpful was, I say accountability, but it was more checking in. How are you doing? A quick text, because if I'm living my life over here, but I guess it's that, the people like back in the, a while back when people were giving up smoking, and Smokers Anonymous or whatever, and you get the person smoking and they got some sponsor and they're knocking at the window, they see you like, yo.
Okay, so that brings me to this offshoot of that question. Because most people take this journey very privately. Yes. And they don't share. So you're saying on one hand, checking in, accountability, but are you okay with it? And is that first step really making people aware around you that I'm on a journey and here's the help I need, right? Spelling it out for them. Because can someone do that for you if they don't even know that this is a journey that matters?
And that's a really great point, because so there's two answers to that question. One deals with the people who really care about you and that you realize take enough time to know what your journey is on their own and say, hold on, because we talk about it and I trust you're a confidant, they're checking in. Like I have a coworker who checks in on me. How many times have you gone to the gym today? Are you planning to go tomorrow? Did you bring your lunch? And it can be a real pain in the ass, but it's from a good place, checking in. But you make it the second point of even general. See, if you tell people, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm on a diet, they're like, what are you doing? But I kind of think secretly people want you to fat. And I don't want to have to
about that before.
I don't want to broadcast. I don't want you to be successful because I'm not successful. So you try to keep it private, but by your behavior and what you're doing, people observe and can see it on your own without you telling them that you're on a journey or you're doing something. And they'll ask you, what are you going to a wedding? You got a new job coming up, new girlfriend, new something, usually something like that, but saying, no, I'm just trying to get my life in order, my health, What are you doing? I'm just trying to get my life in order.
Why do we feel guilty? Even when you say it like that, you say it with a sense of guilt, like I'm trying to get healthy. I know. Why aren't we proud of that?
I know we should be.
Right?
Everybody's like, oh yeah. Because I think they secretly want you to fail.
No, I'm a full believer in that, because if everyone could do it, everyone would.
No, they don't want to see it.
They want to see you succeed at something they've had trouble with, but you're 100% right that people are watching you, they are observing.
Right. Yes.
And again, I'm a person, and we've talked about this before, where if I say something, I want you to see that I'm walking the walk.
Right.
Because there is a certain amount of credibility to that. But
that's true. And that's what it is. And we talk about accountability, and then, having integrity and credibility and people trusting you. And in the position I was in, if I say I'm doing something, I'm doing something. Well, if I tell you I'm doing this, and then you see me like, oh, there's that muffin or donut, they're going to go, oh, yeah, look at him. He's telling me he's doing it. So I keep it quiet, but if they see your behavior and going, well, wait a second, what that's what they see a pattern at what you're eating, and they can see that there's a change, because all of a sudden, when you're in your company and then a vendor brings in breakfast, and you go over there, and there's the little sausage things and the donuts and the muffins and the bread, and if somebody saw me go and grab not just 1, 2, 3, they're like, well, oh, he's not serious.
Yep.
Now I wonder, do you question other things I say, where it comes all taking it a whole different way? But what is hard for me is to say, I'm committed to this. It's important. I'm okay. And if I was in a place, you can have I have somebody at coworker. She's definitely one of them. I'm gonna have a half. I'm gonna have one piece. Not me. I'm taking 3, 4. So I know 0. I'm gonna come and say hello. Hi, thanks for coming in today. Appreciate you here. Hi, here's my name. Goodbye. I can't stay here.
Yeah.
So I can still be the social and the obligation.
Right.
Because why am I really going over there? I was going over because we were told to come over for a presence, for a visibility.
Yeah.
Why am I really going over there? Because there's
food.
There's food. Oh shit! But I can't have that. I really shouldn't have that. I can't. I don't want to get into that battle. So how do you find that balance? So in the beginning, it doesn't have to be black and white. I think one of the things that we agreed to, if you're doing the right things more than you're doing the wrong things, you'll eventually you'll get going where you need to go. So if you say, I get mad, I can't even follow this plan. If I get 70%, what'd you do this week? 60%, 70%. Well, what didn't you do well? I didn't drink water. Okay, let's work on water. 75%. If you can do things 75%, we talked about it today. I don't need an A. I need a C.
C's get degrees.
C's get, you know what? A C is not maintenance. Maybe it would be. But if I get 65, 70, 75, I know over time, because there isn't a time frame. And that's the other part that makes it very hard, is you set a time frame. Everybody I want it now. So of course, no carbs, no sugars. I'm going to lose 15 pounds in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. And then
there's no stop.
And then I'm going to be like, oh God, what's happened to me?
There is no stop to good health. And thank you for sharing the journey. I appreciate it, because it is nice to hear it from a different mindset than the one that we might be traditionally used to, or hear about even how to help our man. With that, guys, key takeaway points that even Sandy addressed is, small steps, big changes. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard to take that first step, and the smaller steps lead to the bigger ones. So a book that I know resonates very well with a lot of men and even women, but predominantly men, there's a book by James Clear called Atomic Habits. And it talks about taking those small things. Start with the sneakers next to the bed before you go out for a run. Great tool. Another thing that was one of your key points, it's if your goal is to get healthy, it doesn't always mean it starts with the food. I think the food is the easiest thing to control because it's very tangible, but it's also how we think and how we feel. And I know it's not always a practical thing to think about meditations or stress reducers. I know in a woman's world, I think it's a little bit more common than a men, but take a look at something like the Calm app on your phone that gives you a 5-minute meditation or stress reliever per day. Don't think about jumping into a whole gym workout. Think about taking a 10-minute walk, and then the next day a 20-minute walk. And perhaps you'll actually get into the gym and just ride the bike, right before we even start thinking about weight training. But we want to break that fight or flight continuum. I think for a man, that's especially important. We went back and we talked about, or I gave you the percentage of the cardiac risk health, and that's a lot with how your adrenaline is on your cardiac system. So learning to get out of that flight mode or that fight mode throughout your day and learn to take that step back. Don't skip the stretch after a workout. I am gonna throw that out there as a trainer in classes. It's one of my biggest pet peeves is when the workout is done and you just really pushed yourself hard and you leave before you even stretch. So even small changes like that, make a plan, write out for the day. Again, we talked about men thinking with a plan. It needs to be laid out. They need to be prepared. Print it out off of the internet. There's free templates. It could be a day planner. It could be your own Outlook calendar. Place in there when you're going to eat lunch and set an alarm. So small steps lead to bigger changes. I want to thank Sandy again for being here with us.
Oh, my pleasure.
We loved having you and hearing your insight, and so proud of all the changes that you've made, and that you also view it as a continual work in progress.
Yeah.
Because we will have our moments of ups and wins. We're going to have our moments of downs where we lose sight. But the one thing I've always admired is that you keep going. That health doesn't have that start and stop like we talked
you can
about.
start over anytime, and where I'm at right now is on that up cycle where I have restarting. And for me, when you say the small steps just for today, or I always joke with friends and say day one, you can do anything for one day, and every day is day one, and you take it in small steps. And for just today, take care of yourself, and you'll both build a lot of momentum, and you'll feel better, and it's worth it in every way.
So just remember that, right? And I don't even like thinking about it as a day one. I think about just pick up where you left off when you were feeling good. So I ask every one of you to make sure you hit that subscribe and like. Be sure to check out all of our other episodes of Real Talk with Coach Allison G. And please check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Coach Allison Gold. We really appreciate having you here. As always, thank you so much. And if you have any suggestions, please be sure to put them into the comments below. Be good and take care of yourself.
So fresh. Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown.